for me, like, the interesting thing is, like, the last 8 or 9 years, the reemergence of, like, the San Francisco scene. From your perspective, what's, like, the thing that makes that scene function so well? Because, like, every band, it's kind of becoming, like, a better place than, like, Brooklyn as far as, like, other music coming out.
Well, that was true about 3 years ago. Maybe even 4 years ago at this point. But everyone's moved away now.
Yeah.
Like, Ty's no longer there. Mike Donovan of the Sick Alps is no longer there. John Dwyer's no longer there. The city in the past 3 years has seen such a drastic reformation due to the tech boom, obviously. Everybody's so sick of hearing about this, I feel bad even talking about it. Now there's so few bands, like the better bands there now, like CCR Head Cleaner. A lot of those people are relocating to Oakland or living in closets and, working, door shifts to get by. So the scene is actually kind of like withered quite a bit, but it does this all the time. So the thing about one of the big misconceptions about the San Francisco scene, it's never gone away.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, ever since like the first initial punk blast in like 75 and 76, there's been consistent punk bands and garage bands, no wave bands, experimental bands. Like, SRL was there, Survival Research Laboratories.
Yeah.
Those people never went away. It's just like this orbit that happens where people choose to look at it for a second and then just sort of catch what's going on. When there was a booming, like, sort of alternative country and folk scene there in the 90s, no one gave a shit really, except for people that were reading No Depression magazine and, a few people that were into, like, 4AD stuff when it kind of veered into Americana. To answer your question, sorry to be so long-winded.
No,
But to answer your question, the scene there is like about the worst I've seen it since I moved there in '99. Whereas it's impossible for bands to find places to play, practice that are consistent, like vibrant the way they were in 2007 and 8. The scene that happened to nurture us into existence.
Okay.
It's straightforward now. I can't imagine any band who maybe like that initial blast of garage. They couldn't make it. No one could. You can't pay rent there.
No fuck.
Everyone's. You can live on the exterior. East Bay or what have you, or South. There's still some hidden gems, but I mean, everyone's been pushed out. There's no way to afford it, especially if you're young and just trying to work.
Right.
Some job to try and be a band to work.
So what, are you guys going to stay there for a while then? I mean,
I'm not leaving. I worked way too hard to get there. I'm not going to let some like tech person push me out of my home.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I have a family there.
I'm stubborn, yeah.
No, I mean, Austin's kind of becoming the same way. I mean, every article you read, Austin's like the place to be for new tech companies, and I mean, our governor likes to cut deals behind everyone's back, so everyone comes here to get the tax breaks, and then it brings in like another.
That's the biggest joke, is what a liberal oasis San Francisco is seen. It's a completely privatized, privately owned place,
Yeah.
and Ed Lee has a lot to answer for in that. He's just cutting deals with the tech companies.
Yeah.
So they massive tax breaks. They're using the public transit system for their own private buses.
Does any of that funnel down through the artist community at all, though?
That's what I was about to say. The irony is all these people move there because they want to be somewhere that's vibrant and artistic, and there's this cultural thing happening, and then they just flush everybody out. And the money doesn't trickle down. I played a tech party like before I came here that was like, and compared to what I was witnessing, it was like some stupid thing that was like, they're like, hey, we're gonna have like a San Francisco band play, and it was
the culture.
yeah, totally. And it was like being around Invasion of Body Snatchers. It was like they really just, the amount of money that is trickling down to the artist, and you're just now starting to see galleries. And no shit, galleries coexisting in spaces where tech firms exist. The venue that I played the other night was a venue that was nicer than almost any venue I've seen. Just across the board, it was like better than Bottom of the Hill. The equipment was like state of the art. They give you their change. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, and they probably had no idea who you were at the end of the day.
I mean, some of them did. Some of them did. It was just kind of like a weird. It was just a weird scene. It's for the amount of money that they're bringing in, and those companies are bringing in. What's going out to the city of San Francisco and people that aren't a part of the tech industry, it's very little. It's just the way it's always going to be. Sorry.
No, I mean, the longer the better. For a better interview.
Issue.
Yeah.
And just another thing, between all you guys and your side projects, you've hit up probably, I don't know, almost a dozen labels between like Bowler and Hardly Art and I guess, Mexican Summer with the new record. What's the one record label that you guys haven't worked with yet that you're like, hey, let's put out an EP on this label? Is there one? Slumberland?
Yeah.
I'll send Mike an email and be like, hey. I mean, I'm sure he would be down.
Yeah, I've always wanted. Totally go ahead. Sorry.
So just dream labels, but we've worked with amazing labels the whole time. We've been really lucky.
Yeah. Is there a reason for the switch, like, or just out of opportunity and people are like, hey, we'll put it out, and that's
Opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, labels that you like what they do and you like the people that are doing it. We've done a lot of stuff for love labels, people that really work their asses off for like relatively little in return. I mean, labels that are successful by reputation and by artistic integrity, like Sacred Bones, or Woodsist, or In the Red, there's not one label we've worked with where we've left with a bad like, I didn't really like that experience kind of feeling. It's all been unique and totally different. We've just been super fortunate.
Well, I mean, and along those same lines, like, between solo careers and Fresh and Onlys, you guys are, what, like 13, 14 albums and EPs in? Like, when do you take a break? And what do you do when this, like, is there a break? Or is this it?
I think we just went on it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the break just happened.
Yeah. Between South by and now, it's like
Well, no, just the past couple of years, we slowed down and focused more, definitely on individual releases, whereas that first wave of us putting stuff out was kind of like fast and loose a little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was reckless. It was just fast and loose,
We'd extinguish it if there wasn't a spark, something wasn't working, but starting to get flush with ideas, over again. What's next? So that feels tapped.
Does that influence like House of Spirits at all? Like for me, like listening to it, there's a couple of ballads on there, like Ballerina and I'm Awake are a lot more ballad driven. I mean, there's still some like noisier songs in there. But does that influence the direction of the band, or that's like a conscious decision or is that just a natural?
Those are just what Tim was writing out in the desert. I mean, not to sound, cheesy or whatever, but he was we were all, ironically, in serious places of isolation at that time. And Tim specifically had moved away, become a father, was living in the desert. He wasn't in a yurt or anything, but he was on a horse ranch. He didn't come back with any sort of visions or anything.
Right.
But the batch of songs that to me personally, sound really more full. It's really they do sound alone, and songs like I'm Awake have that feeling and sound, and we were all going through separately really difficult things at the time, and Tim just sort of captured that. I know he captured it for me, and I think that's how Tim works, is through conversations with us. We influence his writing, his songs, his subjects, his lyrics, his melodies even, because I know for me personally, I isolated in a way, and I was communicating with Tim, and a week later I would get a song that Tim's like, I wrote this song for you, whatever, and that really, I know for me, helped pull me through some pretty miserable shit, and it was pretty dark, but our direction, I feel like those kind of songs have always existed for us, and fortunately we're all in better places now, kind of moving into a new life with the band, a new direction with like a different approach, and we don't have any real intention of we're in a position right now where we could be like, man, it was a good run. We put out these many records and everything, and let's just end it, kind of call it a day. And it'd be easy to do that. We'd probably be happy and go on and do other things. But and I know I've had that feeling at night. And I'm sure that all of us have at some point felt like calling it, throwing in the towel, so to speak. But trips like this and hanging out and kind of getting beyond like the bickering and all the petty stuff that occurs when you tour the world with people for 5, 6 years, 7 years, whatever it's been. You realize how special it is, and it's like, I don't really want to go learn to tolerate other people.
Yeah.
I just want to tolerate these guys now, but and it kind of moves into a different phase.
I think having a band is a way to corral all of your fringe emotional states into a sublimated energy that you share collectively, and that it winds up being a record or a show or whatever it is, an experience that kind of disseminates all of that. You know what I'm saying? It just cuts through all the bullshit, and here's the record, you know, and like everything that went into it, it's always a different story. There's a different story behind each one of our and every band's releases. You know, you can go back and this particular record was like Shade put it perfectly. It was like we were all going through our trying stuff, and somehow the collective consciousness that became the record perfectly encapsulates what we were going through the process of writing, recording it.
So it's like a cathartic record.
It is, and it always is. And once you get past that, and you're like, the record's gonna be out, then it's like Shane said, on to the next thing. And like Wyman said, once the spark goes away, or for some reason we're not able to sublimate our energies in that way, then we'll just call it. I don't ever want to be up there trying, you know, like to make something come to me that's not coming to me.
So is the set today going to include mostly newer stuff, or are you going to go and, I mean, you got a pretty solid catalog, so.
Well, we got 3 songs off House of Long Slow Dance, a couple off Soothsayer. We haven't run our set yet.
It's going to go with how you feel, just get up there.
Let's do it 3, 4, 1.
Well, the thing is, we're such a song-oriented band, and it's like pretty easy to like just go and pick the fruit from the tree, you know, if it's ripe. Sometimes the fruit's not ripe, sometimes it's really fucking sour. You know, like, you'll pick that fruit from the tree and like, oh man, we shouldn't have played that. Like, it's just rotten.
We might have 80 songs or more, you know, as a band, and we actively probably know 50 of those, or you know, that we could rotate out. It's pretty amazing to like have this group of people where you can just call something out and jump right in there.
Yeah, a lot of bands get their 9 songs down for a tour, and that's all they're gonna learn, and maybe a cover too.
It used to be like, oh, let's tailor our set because we're playing the Psych Fest. Let's play our more psychedelic stuff. But I think we've matured to the point of like, you know what? Let's just be our band. Whatever we feel like playing, we're gonna play. It doesn't have to be beholden to the aesthetic of whatever. You know, like you play. There's a mellower. Sometimes you want to play the harder stuff when every other band is mellow. You know, sometimes you want to play the ballads when every other band is trying to rip the strings off their guitar, you know?
How do you guys feel about that modifier of like psych? I mean, I kind of thought maybe eventually it would like fade away. Like, do you care that you've kind of been thrown in there? I mean,
it turned into a new indie.
I mean, you guys obviously have nods, but like if you listen to the progression from the album, it's like you've moved further and further away from it to where now, I don't know, like the newest record doesn't really sound a whole lot like what everyone would traditionally call psych. Does it matter?
It's funny because exactly that word's so arbitrary to what it means. Because to me, the new record is in such a dream state, the whole thing, that it has more of the psych tag to it. And things felt more lucid, I guess, a way. Previously, to me, this one is more psych than the previous one. So there you have it. Yeah, well, yours is wrong, but that word itself,
it's kind of like when the Smiths made Strange Ways Here We Come, they were like, this is our psychedelic record. And I don't think anybody on the planet, well, I shouldn't say anybody, but most people would look at that record and say, wow, that's a psych record. But you know, that's what Johnny and Andy and all those guys said about that record, was that was their psychedelic record. So I think words like that get thrown around loosely and kind of carelessly, but it's innocence, you know. It's not, nothing bothers me. I mean, you can call us a collection of assholes, to quote Dan Melchior. And maybe that's what we are, but being a band is kind of like, it's a gang, you know. It's really just a gang, and like, I've got my gang, and we got, you know, these songs. That's what we have instead of like chains and, you know, street corner ballads. We have these like bizarre, naive pop songs, you know.
I'm sure people get frustrated with us because they either hear us as like a folk rock band or a surf rockabilly band or a garage band. You know,
it's somebody that
wants to be a certain song. Versus taking the
I write it, and as I'm writing it, I want to raise everything I've heard. But then at the same time, what about that one person that has no idea, but they know that they like indie pop? And I mentioned that, and all of a sudden, this is like their new favorite song because they skipped everything else because they were like, well, I don't like psych rock, I don't like garage rock.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, for me, it's kind of the nature of the beast. Like, you know, Pitchfork and all those places have created this monster where everyone needs like a tag, and you have to tag your SoundCloud and say this is noise rock or this is metal.
Record stores did that. Record critics did that. It's become much more hard to disseminate with internet basically explaining what music is to teenagers and kids who don't have any idea what came before what's happening right now, you know? Because now parents aren't like the same as my parents, who were like I listened to Cat Stevens and Gordon Lightfoot and Don McLean in my house, and I was just like, these are all really good songs, you know. And like I grew up with an understanding of like record albums and song, and I don't know how, I can't speak to what kids are doing these days, but I feel
Song by
like
song.
parents that are parents of teenagers and kids that are old enough to notice what's going on are of a totally different generation. That they started listening to music in a totally different way, you know.
Look at how people like listen to music now. If you look at things like Spotify, and this shit is literally you type it in and like some stranger goes, "Oh, he likes all that," and then they
For
put
fans of.
yeah, and it's really I mean, it would be impossible for music writers or bands to ever really get across what they're trying to get across without having a conversation that's intimate like this.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I was making a mix on the plane on the way here, and it has like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Flipper, Faust. It has like all kinds
So
of
it's a
shit
good
on it.
song.
Like,
The song
yeah,
is
I'm not sitting there going like, I want something that's got this kind of vibe, because today I want to feel tough like this.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is what sounds interesting right now. I'm on a kick of songs with a certain kind of bass sound, you know, or it's just, I can't get that if I go to Spotify. I can't be like, I really want to hear Meat Puppets, you know, and Lee Hazelwood.
Are you guys on Spotify?
It's only helped.
Are you on Spotify?
I think so.
We just did. We were asked to do a playlist for it.
Well, I don't ever use it. I mean, probably like you guys, like I'm an album listener. Like I want a whole album. I mean, I'll make the mix for road trips and stuff like that, but like I go album by album, so there's no
Do
reason.
you guys think it's kind of part of the downfall of the DJ actually being able to pick something and the radio going away, as especially college radio, things like that?
I think in general it's just helped kill culture and kids be more bored and inundated with too much information, and there's no context anymore. For a scene to happen, there has to be a cultural relevance to it. There has to be like a whole moment that's unspoken. You know, no one in particular is guided, you know, and anymore it's because it's so.
I think the popularity of vinyl, not that it's never gone away, obviously, but for 13-year-olds, because I teach, it's my day job, hanging out with middle school kids all day. Those kids, the weird ones, gravitate towards vinyl because it's something they can make their own. The rest of them,
I mean, the cool ones.
I don't even want to say the cool ones. I mean, even the ones that wear capes to school, like they want to go buy a record because they think it's an experience. Which perhaps for me was the same reason that I started buying a record. The rest of them, song by song, like this is a good song, but I don't know what the rest of the album sounds like. And so when they go to shows, they just want to hear the one song that they heard on Spotify, and that's
Play
it.
the hits.
Yeah, I mean, over and over, it's the hits. I mean, and that's what that generation is going to grow up with, which is kind of sad.
Dude, that
I
kind
have
of
a somewhat relevant anecdote that happened on the airplane last night. I was sitting next to a kid who's probably 22 or 24. He was an investment banker in training, working for his father, or investment analyst or something. I mean, he was reading a book about stocks. We talked for a while about sports. At the end of the trip, you know, and he was asking me about music, and he's just curious. And I was like, those are really nice headphones. He had Beats by Dr. Dre headphones, big white headphones. And I was like, those are cool. He's like, these are $400 headphones, man. It's like, when I hear, this, like, when I hear this sound, what's the sound that's like, dude? I was like, that's bass. It's like, yeah, when that, like that, sounds really good on these headphones. And I was like, I just explained to a 22-year-old man what the low sound of a piece of music is. And I could just picture him, immediately what's into my head, like him talking into some kind of like tablet and being like, more dude. Like,
Explain it to his friends.
What is more?
Yeah, more dude. Like, what sound do you? It's just like I want I want everything to sound like that, and I want it all to sound like that good sound that I like. That sounds great on my expensive headphones, and that's kind of like the monogamization of taste,
Yeah.
It's like it's really. You can't do anything about it. It's ubiquitous, It's like
I like that kind of innocence though when you listen to music. That to me is like that's a really honest thing. It's like, it's endearing.
If you had asked him, like, what are banking derivatives? It would have been the same for
He'd be
him.
like,
right?
I had to explain to this guy. That's what I'm gonna say from now when people ask me what instrument I play.
I'd explain this
I'm
guy
gonna
what a $100 bill looks like. The part's like.
You mean you have a
So,
little
impromptu
touchpad thing.
question: what's the favorite sports team then? If you're talking about this guy about sports.
Oh,
We all have different ones.
I mean,
What's the
What sports you guys
Very
have?
tough question for
Golden
this
State
guy.
Warriors? So you missed the game last time?
No, I got to catch the last.
We caught the end. Yeah,
Okay.
the last.
I was on the street. I saw the end. I was in downtown Austin.
It got a little scary, but
Lifelong Broncos is becoming the Giants now. That baseball, San Francisco Giants.
Okay.
We're all kind of like a little bit tag along Giants. We've all lived in San Francisco so long. My daughter was born in San Francisco, their World Series year,
Yeah.
second World Series year, 2012, and she has the birthright. So I'm kind of like trying to raise her to be a fan because I never had a
The city you were in.
born in.
Allegiance,
that,
yeah.
So I was brought up a Cubs fan because my dad. We got WGN in Virginia, and my dad was a Cubs fan growing up because his dad lived in Illinois before that. So
No interest in soccer for anyone?
not me.
I like World Cup when it comes around, and like Euro League stuff when it's on TV. I'll watch soccer all day, but like I don't have a team. DC United, I would have to say, because like if I had a team, it's like that's New York.
Okay.
I've completely pretty much stopped watching everything but basketball, even off season now because I have like an NBA package or whatever. I don't ever have to watch baseball again. I've never watched football, American football. I've never watched soccer. Basketball.
Who's going to win? Who's going to pull it out
For this year?
this year?
I hope San Antonio does.
That you just became we're best friends. I'm totally.
To quote our drummer,
Spurs.
to
What did you say?
Spurs.
You said Spurs?
Yeah.
They're finished.
No, dude.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
To hate the Spurs, to quote our drummer Kyle, he's like, to hate the Spurs is to hate the game of basketball.
You can't hate the Spurs.
Yeah.
It's like
You can't hate
I'd
the
way
game.
rather see the Thunder win this year, just for the simple fact that they're back against the wall now.
Dude, you don't want to see
And-
Pop get his like. And Tim
He's got
Duncan-
rings. They got plenty of
But they
rings.
can
He's
walk
done, he's
away.
retired.
They got
Yeah.
plenty of
top.
rings.
But you can walk away and be happy and be like, I was the greatest power forward, even though he's probably more of a center.
Yeah.
And walk away and be like, I was the greatest ever.
He would
And
never say that.
he wouldn't.
He
He
would.
wouldn't. And Pop would not say anything. But I would like to see him get 5.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the Spurs.
6 seconds away from last year of having his 5th ring, and it would have been
As long as the Clippers don't win. Because
So are you hating the
I'm not
Clippers?
going to jump on that bandwagon.
So was your hatred before?
Yeah, we hate the Clippers.
Okay, that's fair.
Up in the Bay.
I just feel
So the
bad.
Lakers, I hate the Lakers much more than I hate pretty much any team, but I love Magic Johnson. I love James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Pat Riley I even love, you know. But I don't like the Lakers.
So it's gonna
or
be-
the Yankees, or
AC
the Cowboys.
Green, My
AC
favorite Laker,
Green.
yeah, totally.
That fade back in the day. I remember that. So you got Spurs versus who? Heat?
I mean, I was hoping it'd be the
Raptors.
Pace. I was hoping, I know the Raptors
That'd be
are exciting. Yeah. I was really hoping on
fun
I was
round
really getting
basketball there.
behind I was on the Pacers bandwagon along with their drummer Kyle, and like I really would have liked to have seen that happen, but I heard about last night, and I heard Paul George might play tonight. Like he might be banned for a game, and it shows that they're like screwed. But I don't want to see the Heat.
There's been a lot of drama in the playoffs. Like not only
This
with
is the
great
first
games,
ever 7
but with
game-
like lots of off the court. Like Dwan Blair kicked Thiago Splitter, his former teammate, in the face. And there's all the shit with Donald Sterling.
Keep it classy.
Oklahoma called
Yeah.
Kevin Durant unreliable, and like there was a big scandal about that.
It's so stupid. There's more going on today with the Warriors too, with Jermaine O'Neal, and he's probably played his last game last night, most likely.
What did you do last night?
Somebody from the Clippers, I can't remember who, but it was a dirty play.
By Matt Barnes.
It wasn't Matty
Former
Barnes.
Laker.
No, former Warrior.
Former Warrior, too. He was a Laker.
He
but
was a Laker.
He was a
but
Warrior.
as well. But yeah, they might have put him out, which means David Lee's playing center. Which, I mean, for Game 7 we might be able to pull off, but David Lee's not a center. And then what do you do after that?
And it's in LA and all the
Yeah,
LA
totally.
crazy stuff.
Just hope Stephen Curry can hit those threes like he did in that one quarter.
Well, the Clippers are the most solid team in shutting down three-pointers than any other team in the league. So that's
I hate Blake Griffin. If there's anybody I hate more on the planet, it's Blake Griffin. As an Austinite, a former student at Oklahoma State, when he went to OU, I hate that guy. Well, cool. Well, let's.
So you're a Des Bryant fan then? I mean,
Okay, I'm a Des Bryant fan by the talents, but not by the person. Like, you ever see a guy, you're like, man, you're amazing to watch. Like Cristiano Ronaldo. He plays soccer, he's probably the best player in the world. Amazing, but God, I hate that guy. Like,
Barry Sanders.
yeah, I mean, Barry Sanders was with Oklahoma State.